You're dead to us? Don't ever crawl back here again. My mom texted days after I refused to cover my sister's $85,000 business program. I said you just slit your own throat. Then I cut off their $1 million gravy train and now they're begging like their lives depend on it. Holy crap. Read it. I never thought I'd be posting here, but after what happened 8 months ago, I need to get this off my chest. My buddy Alex convinced me to share this story because he says it's the most epic family revenge he's ever witnessed. Buckle up because this gets absolutely wild. I 32 male and I own a mid-sized construction company that specializes in commercial building projects. Started with just me in a pickup truck 7 years ago. Now I've got 52 employees and we pulled in $14.2 million last year. Not bragging, just setting the scene for why my family thought I was their personal ATM. My family dynamic was always complicated and honestly pretty dysfunctional looking back. Dad, Rick 58 male, runs a concrete supply business that's been struggling for years mostly because he refuses to modernize or adapt to industry changes. He's stubborn as a mule and thinks technology is the enemy. Mom, Carol 55. Female has this boutique real estate agency that looks super fancy with a marble counters and expensive artwork but barely breaks even. Most months she spends more on maintaining appearances than actually generating sales. My sister Madison, 28 female, is a professional Instagram influencer who calls herself an entrepreneur but has literally never earned a legitimate dollar in her life. Her idea of work is posting photos of overpriced coffee and designer handbags while spouting motivational quotes she found online. When my construction business really took off about 5 years ago, I started helping the family out. Dad needed new equipment. I'd co-sign loans. Mom's real estate office needed cash during slow seasons. I'd wire $50,000 without thinking twice. Madison wanted to start her luxury lifestyle brand. Sure, here's $75,000 to get started. My business partner Alex always gave me grief about it. Dude, you're running a family welfare program, he'd say during our morning meetings. When's the last time any of them actually thanked you? Honestly, I couldn't remember. But here's what they didn't know. I wasn't just helping out occasionally when they had small problems. I had systematically become the financial backbone holding their entire world together like some kind of invisible support structure they took completely for granted. Dad's concrete business was operating entirely on my business credit lines because he couldn't qualify for his own. After some serious tax issues from 2010 involving unreported cash payments. Mom's boutique agency was paying rent through automatic transfers from my company account transfers she thought were coming from some mythical family trust fund our grandfather supposedly set up. Madison's entire lavish lifestyle, the downtown loft with city views, the white BMW, the endless designer, everything was funded by what she believed was a family investment account, but was actually just me sending her $400 or $500 every single month like clockwork. 3 weeks ago, everything changed. Madison calls me on a Tuesday morning, doesn't even say hello, just launches into Jake. I need you to cover something important for me. Turns out she'd been accepted into this exclusive business mentorship program in Los Angeles. The cost $85,000 for 6 months of networking with industry leaders and mindset coaching. Here's the thing though. We were in the middle of our biggest expansion yet, and I'm talking about serious growth that would determine our company's future for the next decade. I just hired 15 new employees, including 2 project managers, 3 site supervisors, and a whole crew of skilled workers. We were also financing a massive equipment purchase that was costing us nearly 200,000 new excavators, concrete mixers, and specialized machinery that would let us take on bigger commercial projects. Cash flow was genuinely tight. Not because we weren't profitable, we were crushing it, but because every available dollar was strategically invested into growth initiatives that would secure our future and potentially double our revenue within 2 years. So for the first time ever, I told her something I'd never said before. Madison, I can't swing that right now. The business is expanding rapidly and I've got serious payroll commitments. Maybe in a few months we can revisit this. The silence on the phone was deafening. Then she explodes. Are you serious right now after everything this family has done for you? I'm thinking, what exactly has this family done for me? But before I could respond, she hits me with, you know what? Jake's success has made you selfish. Don't bother calling me back until you remember what family means. She hung up on me. That was Tuesday. Thursday night, I'm at home with my wife Sarah, finally relaxing after a 14-hour day managing 3 different job sites when my phone buzzes. Text message from Dad. You're no longer my son. Don't contact us again. I swear I stared at that message for 20 minutes straight, called Alex immediately. What the heck happened? He says when I read him the text. Over 85 grand. Are you kidding me? Friday morning, there's an envelope slipped under my front door. No return address. Just my name written in Mom's handwriting. Inside was a single piece of paper. You are not welcome at family events. Do not come to the house. That's when Alex came over and found me sitting in my kitchen, just staring at this note like it was written in a foreign language. Bro, Alex says, sitting down across from me, you realize what this means, right? What they just declared war on the wrong guy. Alex has been my best friend since we were 14 and started working construction jobs together every summer. When I decided to start my own company, he was the first person I called. He's got this incredible ability to see through people's nonsense and find humor in even the darkest situations, which is probably why we've been business partners for so long. All right, Alex says, setting up his laptop at my kitchen table Friday evening. Let's talk facts here. How much money have you actually given these people over the years? I pulled up my accounting software, and we started going through the records. The numbers were honestly shocking even to me. Dad's business, $340,000 in loan guarantees plus about $180,000 in direct cash loans that were never repaid. Mom's real estate agency, $290,000 over 3 years in temporary cash flow assistance. Madison's lifestyle, $216,000 and direct transfers. Plus, I'd been covering her rent $2,800 monthly and car payment $830 monthly for the past 2 years. Good grief, Jake, Alex says, nearly choking on his coffee. You've given them almost $1 million, $1 million, and they disowned you over $85,000. But here's where Alex really proved his worth as a friend and business partner. Dude, you realize they don't actually understand how their own finances work, right? Like Madison probably thinks her rent gets paid by magic. He was absolutely right. In all my years of supporting them, none of them had ever asked for details about how the money flowed. They just assumed it appeared when they needed it. So what do you want to do? Alex asks, leaning back in his chair. I want to show them what not my son actually looks like. Alex grins. Now you're talking? But we're going to do this intelligently. No emotional decisions, just cold, hard business logic. Saturday morning, Alex shows up with coffee and a legal pad. All right, brother, time for some financial reality. But first, we're going to protect you legally from any blowback. We spent the entire weekend systematically mapping out every single financial connection I had with my family. And honestly, it was like discovering an iceberg. The surface stuff was just the beginning. The web was way more extensive and complicated than even I had realized. After years of gradual involvement, Dad's concrete business wasn't just getting occasional help. It was essentially operating as a subsidiary under my commercial credit lines because his personal credit was completely destroyed. The company trucks, the equipment leases, even the liability insurance were all flowing through my business credit. His employee health insurance was subsidized through my company's group plan because his business couldn't afford decent coverage on its own, and I'd been quietly covering the difference for 3 years. Mom's real estate office situation was even more complex than I'd remembered. The lease was personally guaranteed by me when she couldn't qualify solo her website hosting professional licensing fees, marketing budget, all that expensive office furniture. She loved showing off to clients, even her membership in the Regional Real Estate Association. Everything was paid through automatic transfers from my business account that she naively assumed came from some family trust fund our grandfather had established decades ago. Madison was absolutely the worst-case scenario, though, and Alex was shaking his head as we documented everything. Not only was I covering her rent and car payments, but her credit cards were tied directly to my business accounts as consulting expenses. She was technically listed as a brand consultant for my company, which was just a clever way to funnel her money legally without tax complications. Her health insurance, phone plan, gym membership, grocery delivery service, clothing allowances, even her subscription boxes for makeup and wine were all flowing through my company like she was some kind of dependent child rather than a grown adult. Dude, Alex says, reviewing our notes. You didn't just help them out occasionally, you basically adopted 3 financially irresponsible adults. By Sunday evening, we had a comprehensive plan. Alex dubbed it Operation Reality Check. Here's the thing he explains. They want to disown you. Perfect. But they don't get to keep all the benefits of being your family while treating you like garbage. Time to cut every single cord. Monday morning, I started making calls. Alex insisted on being present for what he called the Great Financial Disconnection. We set up in my home office Monday morning with our laptops, coffee, and what Alex called our productivity playlist, mostly motivational business podcasts. All right, brother, Alex says. Let's start with the straightforward stuff and work our way up to nuclear options. First, call my business insurance agent removed Dad's trucks from our fleet coverage effective immediately. Next, the commercial credit line that financed his equipment. I requested an immediate review of all authorized users and had his access terminated. How long until he notices this one? Alex asks when he tries to purchase materials tomorrow morning. Beautiful. Next up was Mom's situation called the Commercial Real Estate Management Company and terminated my personal guarantee on her office lease. Then I canceled every single automatic transfer to her business accounts. She's going to panic when that rent notice arrives, Alex says with satisfaction. But Madison's financial setup was the most complex. Alex was reading from our list. Car payment, rent, health insurance, phone service, gym membership, grocery delivery, credit cards. Jake, you were basically this woman's sugar daddy. I systematically canceled everything. Car payment authorization, health insurance coverage, phone plan, even her streaming service subscriptions that were somehow tied to my accounts. By noon Monday, Alex and I had methodically removed my financial backing from their entire existence. But we weren't finished. Time for the nuclear option. Alex announces the business partnerships. Here's what they never understood. Dad's concrete business was technically structured as a subsidiary of my construction company for tax optimization purposes. Mom's real estate agency was operating under my business license. Through some complicated arrangement my accountant had set up, Madison's luxury lifestyle brand was actually just a DBA registration under my company's umbrella. If they want to disown you, Alex points out, they lose all the business protections and advantages too. I contacted my business attorney and initiated the process of dissolving every shared business entity. By Wednesday, they'd all be operating as completely independent businesses with zero connection to me or my company. How long until they realize what's happening? Alex asks. Probably when they try to place orders tomorrow and discover their credit has been terminated. But the real masterstroke was Alex's suggestion about the house. See, my parents live in this beautiful suburban home they purchased 5 years ago. What they conveniently forgot is that I co-signed the mortgage because their credit scores weren't sufficient for the loan amount they wanted. Technically, I owned 50% equity in their primary residence. You could force a partition sale, Alex explains. Make them buy you out or sell the house. That seems pretty nuclear, brother. They told you that you're not their son at this point. Why should you care? I contacted my attorney and began the legal process of demanding my equity stake in the house in Texas. I could force a partition sale if we couldn't reach an agreement on terms by Wednesday afternoon. Their entire financial ecosystem was about to collapse, and that they had absolutely no idea what was coming. You know what the best part is, Alex says as we're finishing up the paperwork. They're going to blame each other initially. Madison's going to assume Dad stopped paying her bills. Dad's going to think Mom messed up the business accounts. It's going to be complete chaos. Thursday morning, my phone started ringing nonstop. Thursday at 6:47 a.m., my phone starts exploding with missed calls. Madison, Dad, and even Mom. But the first actual message I received was a text from Madison. At 7:23 a.m., my car got repossessed from the parking garage. What did you do? Alex was already at my office with coffee and breakfast sandwiches, ready for what he called the fireworks display. She thinks it's your fault her car got repossessed. He asks, reading over my shoulder. I mean, technically it is. I stopped authorizing the payments. That's absolutely perfect. Just perfect. By 8 a.m., the calls were relentless. I put my phone on speaker so Alex could listen. First call was from Dad. Jake, what's going on? The lumber supplier called and said our credit line is suspended. They won't deliver materials for the Morrison project. I let him talk for about 30s before hanging up. Stone cold. Alex says, clearly impressed. Next call was Mom. Jake, honey, there's been some kind of mistake with the office rent. The property manager says I'm behind on payments, but that's impossible because... Click. You're getting really good at this. Alex observes, but Madison's call was the most entertaining. She was actually crying real tears going on about how her landlord was threatening eviction, and her credit cards weren't working. And how could I do this to her? Madison, I finally interrupted. You told me I was selfish and not to call you back, so I'm not calling you back. I'm simply doing exactly what you requested. That's not what I meant. And you know it. Actually, it's precisely what you meant. You and Dad made it crystal clear that I'm not family anymore, so I'm acting accordingly. Alex was giving me encouraging thumbs-up gestures throughout the conversation. Jake, please, I need help. I don't understand what's happening to me. What's happening is you're experiencing life without family financial support. You wanted independence from your selfish brother. So, congratulations on achieving that goal. I hung up and Alex started laughing. Dude, she genuinely has no concept of how money works. She literally thinks bills just magically pay themselves. Around 10 a.m., things escalated significantly. My attorney called with an update. Jake, I just received a very interesting phone call from someone claiming to be your father. He's demanding I cease all legal action immediately. What did you tell him? I informed him that I don't take instructions from people who aren't my clients. Alex nearly choked on his coffee. Your attorney is savage. By noon, the real panic was setting in. Mom actually showed up at my office building. What she'd never done in 7 years of my business operating. My assistant called me Jake. There's a woman in the lobby claiming to be your mother. She seems quite upset. Tell her I'm unavailable and she needs to schedule an appointment through by proper channels. She's insisting it's an emergency. Tell her emergencies require being family. And I was recently informed I'm not family anymore. Alex was thoroughly enjoying every moment of this. Brother, you're absolutely stone cold. I'm genuinely impressed. But the absolute highlight came around 2 p.m. when Madison showed up at my house with suitcases crying hysterically. Jake, they evicted me. I have nowhere to go. Hotels exist for situations like this. I don't have money for a hotel. Then perhaps you should contact your family for assistance. You are my family. Actually, according to Dad's text message, I'm not. So you might want to figure out alternative arrangements. Alex was watching from my living room window, trying not to laugh out loud. That evening, all three of them appeared at my house together. Dad was carrying a bottle of wine like he was coming to a social dinner party. Son, he starts, I'm not your son, remember? You made that very clear in writing. Look, we need to discuss this business situation. There's no business situation to discuss. There's just you dealing with the natural consequences of your choices. Alex opened my front door before I could stop him. Hey folks, Jake's pretty busy right now, but I'd be happy to take a message. The expressions on their faces were absolutely priceless. By Friday morning, the situation had escalated to full crisis mode for them. Alex came over early with breakfast and his laptop. Brother, you've got to see this, he says, pulling up Madison's Instagram account. She'd posted this long sob story about family betrayal and learning hard lessons about trust and independence. The comment section was brutal, people calling her out for being spoiled, asking why a 28-year-old needed family funding for basic living expenses. She's getting absolutely roasted. Alex laughs. Look at this comment. Maybe try getting an actual job instead of posting selfies all day. But the real entertainment came when my phone rang around 9 a.m. It was Dad, but his tone was completely different from previous calls. Jake, son, I think there's been a serious misunderstanding. No misunderstanding whatsoever. You clearly stated I'm not your son. I'm simply respecting your decision. I was angry. I didn't actually mean Dad. You sent me a text saying I'm not your son, then had Mom deliver a written note telling me I'm not welcome at family events. Those aren't words you say in anger. Those are calculated decisions Alex was making, encouraging, keep going. Gestures behind his laptop. Look, can we just sit down and have a rational conversation about this? Your mother's extremely upset. My mother. I thought I wasn't part of the family anymore. Long pause. Jake, what do you want us to do here? Nothing. I want you to do absolutely nothing. You made your choice. Now experience the consequences. I hung up and Alex was grinning ear to ear. Dude, he called you like 6 times in that conversation. They're definitely feeling the financial pressure. Around 11 a.m., Mom called crying actual tears, which I'd maybe witnessed twice in my entire adult life. Jake, the office lease is in default. I could lose everything I've worked for. That sounds like a challenging business situation. You don't understand. This is my life's work. Mom, with respect, your life's work has been funded by me for the past 3 years. Maybe it's time to discover if it can actually function independently. Jake, please, I'm begging you. Begging who exactly? I'm not family, remember. But the absolute masterpiece came when Madison called around 2 p.m. completely hysterical. Jake, I'm staying in a Motel 6. Do you understand how humiliating this is for me? I wouldn't know. I've never needed family funding for my housing arrangements. Come on, you know I can't afford Madison. You're 28 years old. The fact that you can't afford basic housing isn't my problem to solve. What am I supposed to do? Get employment. A job, Jake. I'm an influencer. I have a personal brand. Alex was dying laughing in the background. Ask her how much her brand actually pays per hour. He whispers, Madison, exactly how much does your influencer brand pay you monthly? Extended silence. That's not the point. No, that's precisely the point. You've been living off family money while pretending to be a successful businesswoman. Now you get to discover if your business model actually works. That evening, Alex and I were having coffee on my back patio when all three of them showed up again. This time, they looked like they'd been like crying for hours. Jake Dad starts, "We're sorry, we made a terrible mistake. We want to make this right." Okay, what is it? Making it right looked like they exchanged uncertain glances. Mom spoke up, "We want you to be part of our family again." Cool, what's changed since Tuesday? More confused glances. What do you mean? Madison asks. I mean, 3 days ago, you decided I was selfish and not worth being related to because I couldn't fund Madison's $85,000 life coaching program. What's different now? Let me guess. Alex interjects. What's different is now you're facing the reality of cutting off your family bank account. That's not fair, Mom protests. Isn't it, though? I ask because if I was truly family, if you genuinely wanted me around for who I am rather than what I provide financially, wouldn't you have had this conversation before your bills started bouncing? Dad attempted a different approach. Son, we know you've been generous over the years. Generous dad. I've given you people almost $1 million over 5 years. I've co-signed loans, guaranteed leases, and basically subsidized your entire lifestyles. That's not generosity. That's financial enabling. We didn't ask you to do all that, Madison says defensively. Alex and I both started laughing. Madison, I said you literally contacted me twice monthly asking for money. You absolutely asked. The conversation continued for another hour, but it became clear they still didn't understand the fundamental issue. They weren't sorry for how they treated me. They were sorry about the consequences of their treatment. After they left, Alex and I sat back down with our coffee. So, what's the plan now, brother? Now I let them figure out what family actually means when it's not based on financial transactions. The weekend came, and Alex convinced me to attend our friend Tyler's barbecue. You need to get out and socialize, man. Plus, I want to see if any of them show up groveling. Sure enough, around 3 p.m., while we're grilling burgers, my phone starts ringing. Alex sees the caller ID and announces to the entire party, "It's Madison. Everyone be quiet. This is going to be entertaining," I answered on speaker. "Jake, I need to talk to you privately. It's really important. I'm at a barbecue with friends, people who actually enjoy my company." Jake, I'm serious. I'm in genuine trouble here. What kind of trouble? I borrowed money from someone and they want immediate repayment. Alex raises his eyebrows. How much money, Madison? Who is that? That's Alex. Remember him, my business partner and best friend, who you've never bothered to learn the name of despite knowing him for 10 years, Jake. I borrowed $15,000 and the person wants it back by Monday, or they're going to. Going to what they say. They're going to expose me on social media. It'll destroy my influencer reputation. The entire barbecue party is listening now. Tyler's girlfriend Jessica speaks up. Wait, she borrowed $15,000 to maintain her Instagram image. Madison must have heard her. Who said that, Jake? Who are you with? I'm with my actual friends, Madison. People who spend time with me even when I'm not paying for everything. Jake, please. I just need what money from someone who's not your family. Long pause. You're still my brother. According to Dad's text message, I'm not. That was a mistake. No, Madison. The mistake was me thinking that financially supporting you people made us closer as a family. All it did was make you entitled and ungrateful. Alex gestured for the phone. Madison. This is Alex. I've got a question for you. When's Jake's birthday? What kind of question is that? Just answer it. When's your brother's birthday? Silence. How about his wife's name? What's Jake's wife's name? Madison. More silence. One more. What's Jake's company called? The business that's been funding your lifestyle for years. I don't see how that's relevant. It's relevant because you don't actually know anything about your brother's life. Except that he gives you money. You don't know his birthday, his wife's name, or even what he does for work. But you definitely know his bank account routing number. Alex handed me back the phone. Madison. Alex is absolutely right. You want to be family? Tell me 3 things about my life that don't involve money. The silence stretched on for nearly 30s before she hung up. Tyler's girlfriend Jessica shook her head. That's ice cold. She really doesn't know your birthday. It was last month, I replied. She forgot completely, but she remembered to ask for money. 2 weeks later, Alex added, Sunday morning I woke up to 17. Missed calls from Dad. The voicemail was desperate. Jake, we need to meet today. It's urgent. The businesses just call me back immediately. I returned his call around noon. Dad, what's the emergency? The Morrison contract fell through. We can't secure materials, can't make payroll, and now they're threatening to sue us for breach of contract. That sounds like a serious business problem, Jake. I could lose everything. Dad, with respect, you told me I wasn't your son. Why would someone who's not your son concern himself with your business problems? Because you're a good man. And you know this isn't just about me. I've got 8 employees depending on Dad. You're attempting to guilt trip the wrong person. You want to know what a good man does? A good man doesn't disown his son over money. A good man doesn't send threatening notes through intermediaries. A good man doesn't try to manipulate his child into being a family bank. Long pause. What do you want from us, Jake? I want you to figure out who you are without my financial support. I want Madison to get legitimate employment. I want Mom to operate a business that actually generates profit. And I want all of you to understand that family relationships aren't financial transactions. And if we do that, then maybe we can discuss being family again. But not before that afternoon. Mom showed up at my house alone. Alex was over working on some project proposals, but when he saw her pull up, he grabbed his laptop and headed to the kitchen. I'll be right here if you need backup, he said. Mom looked like she'd aged 5 years in a single week. Jake, can we talk? Just you and me? Sure. We sat on my front porch. She was quiet for a long time before she started speaking. Your father's pride is going to destroy this family, she said finally. Dad's pride didn't send me that text. Dad's pride didn't write that note. You all made this decision collectively. We were angry. No, you were entitled. There's a significant difference. She started crying. Jake, I know we messed up terribly, but you're destroying us, Mom. I'm not destroying anything. I'm just not building it anymore. There's a difference. Your sister's sleeping in her car now. Her choice. She could get employment. Find a roommate, move somewhere more affordable. Instead, she's choosing to be homeless rather than work. She doesn't know how to work, Jake. We never taught her those skills. That was the first honest thing any of them had said throughout this entire situation. Then maybe it's time she learned. Mom sat there crying quietly for a while before she got up to leave. At the door, she turned back. I love you, Jake. Whatever happens, I want you to know that I love you too, Mom. But love and money aren't the same thing. Took me 32 years to figure that out. 3 weeks later, Alex and I were finishing up a client meeting when my assistant buzzed the intercom. Jake, there's a woman here who says she's your sister. She looks different. Alex grinned. This should be interesting. Madison walked into my office looking like she hadn't slept properly in days. Her usual perfect Instagram appearance was completely gone. No makeup hair and a messy ponytail, wearing jeans and a basic t-shirt instead of designer. Everything. Jake, I got a job. Alex looked up from his laptop. Congratulations. What kind of employment? I'm working at a marketing firm downtown. It's entry level, but they said if I work hard, I can advance. I gestured to a chair. That's excellent. Madison, how's it going? It's really hard. Much harder than I expected. I had no idea how much I didn't know about actual work. She paused. Jake, I owe you a serious apology. For what? Specifically for everything. For treating you like a personal bank instead of a brother. For not caring about your life unless I needed something from you. For not even knowing your birthday. She took a deep breath. Alex was completely right. I didn't know anything about you except that you had money. Alex nodded approvingly. This represents genuine progress. I've been attending therapy, she continued. The therapist helped me understand that I was. What's the word? Parasitic. I was living off you without giving anything back to the relationship. For what changed your perspective? I asked. Honestly, being completely broke. Turns out when you can't afford food, you start questioning your life choices pretty quickly. And Dad? Mom. Dad's business is struggling, but he's trying to make it work without loans or credit extensions. Had to sell some equipment. Let go of 2 employees. Mom closed the expensive office and is working from home. She's actually making money for the first time in years. And how do you all feel about me now? Madison looked down. We understand why you did it. We're not happy about the consequences, but we understand your reasoning. Dad keeps saying he should have seen it coming. Alex leaned forward. Madison, what's Jake's wife's name? Sarah. She's a pediatric nurse at Children's Hospital. You guys met in college but didn't start dating until after graduation. She's originally from Oklahoma. When's his birthday? April 15th. Same day as tax day, which he says is fitting since he's always worried about business finances. What does his company do? Commercial construction projects. You started it because you were frustrated with how inefficient construction management was. When you worked for other contractors. Alex looked genuinely impressed. Not bad? How did you learn all that information? I asked questions. Turns out Jake's actually pretty interesting when you're not just trying to get money from him. We talked for another hour. Madison told me about her job, how she'd had to learn basic adult skills like budgeting and cooking, how she'd sold most of her designer possessions to pay rent, how she'd realized that her influencer brand was just an expensive hobby with no real income. Jake, I want to ask you something, and I promise this isn't about money, okay? Do you think? Could we try being brother and sister again, like actual siblings who talk about life and spend time together sometimes? I looked at Alex, who nodded encouragingly. Madison, you want to know the truth? Yes, I never wanted to stop being your brother. I just got tired of being your bank. She started crying, not the manipulative crying from before, but genuine tears of remorse. I'm so sorry, Jake. I'm sorry for taking advantage of you. I'm sorry for not appreciating what you did. And I'm really sorry for not being a better sister. Madison, the fact that you're here, that you got employment, that you learned my wife's name, that means something significant. Alex cleared his throat. This is touching it all, but what about your parents? They want to apologize too. But Dad's too proud and Mom's too embarrassed. They know they messed up badly. Tell them something for me, I said. Tell them I'm willing to have a conversation. Not about money, not about business, just about being family. But they need to understand that being family means caring about each other as people, not just financial resources. Madison nodded. I'll tell them exactly that. After she left, Alex and I sat in my office quietly for a while. You think they actually learned their lesson? He asked. Madison definitely did. Mom probably did. Dad, we'll see. You going to help them if they really change? Maybe someday, but they need to prove they can stand independently first. Independence builds character. Alex laughed. Brother, you basically gave your entire family a masterclass in consequences. It's like you're the world's most expensive life coach. A month later, Dad called me. His voice was different, quieter, more humble than I'd ever heard it. Son, I owe you an apology, a real one. I'm listening. I treated you like a resource instead of a person. I took your generosity for granted and then punished you when it wasn't enough. That's not what fathers do. What do fathers do, Dad? They support their sons even when they can't help financially. They're proud of their kids' success instead of jealous of it. They say thank you instead of demanding more. We talked for 2 hours, really talked, maybe for the first time since I was a teenager. He told me about his struggles, his fears, his regrets. I told him about the pressure I'd felt, how I'd lost myself trying to be everyone's financial solution. Jake, I don't expect forgiveness. I just want you to know that I'm proud of you. Not for the money, but for having the strength to walk away. When we treated you wrong? Dad, I never wanted to walk away from family. I just wanted to be treated like family instead of like a business. I understand that now. 6 months later, we had Thanksgiving dinner together for the first time since the incident. Madison brought her boyfriend, a guy she met at work, who had no idea she came from money. Mom cooked everything herself instead of catering it. Dad talked about his business struggles openly instead of pretending everything was perfect. And Alex was there too because he'd basically become family through all of this. You know what's funny, Madison said during dessert? I'm actually happier now than I was before. Working for my own money feels better than having it handed to me. That's because accomplishment feels better than entitlement, Alex said. Jake tried to tell you that for years. Mom raised her glass to Jake for teaching us the difference between being supported and being spoiled. Dad added, and for having the courage to do what needed to be done even when it hurt. As we sat there, I realized something profound. My family was smaller now. Some relatives still thought I was too harsh, and a few family friends had taken sides. But the people at that table were there because they wanted to be, not because they needed something. Alex was right all those months ago. Sometimes you have to burn down the old structure to build something better. And sometimes the best thing you can do for people you love is stop solving their problems for them. The golden boy learned to say no, and it saved his family from themselves.